Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to get into a interesting reader survey from The Athletic, a Twins fan survey. Subscribe to The Athletic. It's worth the money. Dan Hayes, who wrote this one, does great work. Aaron Gleeman does great work. So we have the first one I wanted to take a look at was on a scale of 1 to 5. How confident are you that the Twins are headed in the right direction? And as you can see here highlighted in green, the most common answer was a 3. So somewhere in the middle. That was 44.5% of the responses, and only 1.6% said extremely confident. And I mean, what would you expect? You know, the coming off a last place finish, a kind of a disaster of a season. I'm not too surprised by these results. I personally probably would have said a 2, with a lot of this being painted with all the uncertainty that we're in with a lockout. So I'd say maybe a 2, but they can get up to back up to a 3 for me with a good off season. How would you grade the job Falvey and Levine have done in their 5 years running the team? Kind of alluded to that. Over half of the respondents said average. And I would say, somewhere there, or I don't know that it would be fair to say below average. But I mean, if you look at it, a lot of their success early on was from things that the previous regimes had put together. And there hasn't been a lot of development at the major league level. And the only argument that you could say, well, maybe it didn't work out because those weren't the guys that they brought into the system. And that's maybe the difference. What I'm saying now that they I want to see what happens with their guys. That's an excuse that they can have up to this point. Your Fernando Romero's, your Steven Gonzalez's, guys like that weren't their guys. They didn't bring them in. They inherited those guys, and they didn't work out. But maybe that's an excuse for them. And then this one, not necessarily the result here, but the bottom result surprised me. Which AL Central opponent will provide the toughest challenge over the next 3 to 5 seasons? That's the key part of this question to me. 3 to 5 seasons. The Chicago White Sox, not surprisingly, seeing them at 74.5%. They're a very good team right now, obviously defending division champs. There's not really any reason to believe they'll be falling off anytime soon. Although some of the other teams in the division have much more impressive farm systems. We'll see how they materialize. But the thing that surprised me more than anything was that 11.9% of the voters felt that over the next 3 to 5 seasons, the Twins won't do enough to be relevant. I very much disagree with that, and I'm kind of shocked. That's not a huge result, I know, but I'm shocked that over the next 3 to 5 years, you don't think they'll be relevant. That was 11 point whatever percent. And yet, I would think that everyone that would put that would have a 1 on the Twins heading in the right direction, but that's actually a lower percentage of a response. That kind of surprised me. And again, I think regardless of whatever you think of this front office, because they might not be the ones to be running the show in 3 to 5 seasons. Gosh, that's just a depressing outlook. I don't know. What should the Twins do with Luis Arraez? And 48.7% allow him to remain a utility player and extend him. I wouldn't hate that, but I think if we're looking at Luis Arraez right now, and trying to figure out what to do with him long term, to be honest with you, I'm fine with letting him play out his team control the way we're looking at it right now. Because this is a guy who is going to be 25 soon, and his knees are already not great. I'm not counting him out or saying that he's not going to hold up over a long career or anything like that. Again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm not interested in keeping him around long term, but this is a guy who is under team control until 2026. So plenty of time that he is going to be around without an extension. So I don't think that I would be very interested in signing Luis Arraez to an extension that would keep him around longer than that, because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how much longer that you are going to want him around past 2025 is what he's under team control for. I would say keep him as is, no extension, which was only 16.2% of the responses. I wouldn't hate excuse me, I wouldn't hate trading him for pitching, but that says more about the Twins' need for pitching right now than it does about my thoughts about Luis Arraez. And I would agree Joe Ryan would be kind of the most exciting of this group because, I mean, hell, right now, is he the number one? Is he the opening day starter? I mean, which of the following Twins prospects are you most okay with trading? And, kind of not surprised that these results are going hand in hand with that other poll. With Trevor Larnach getting such a low percentage on the excitement, obviously he's probably going to be high on this tradability list. But I did find it interesting that Royce Lewis was higher up on the excitement than Austin Martin, but he was also the guy who was fans said they were most okay with trading. So that tells me that there's very much a split among the fan base. There's Royce Lewis has his supporters and Royce Lewis has his doubters. And I think there's definitely valid reasons for both sides. A lot of these questions are difficult to address now since we don't have the full picture of what's going on with this roster. I mean, if you were to ask me right now, it's hard to say, anything. I'd say above 70 to 75 wins with the way the roster looks right now. The way the roster looks now will not be the way the roster looks on opening day, but it's kind of hard to, project what they're going to do once we get out of lockout because, with the starting pitching market, the biggest opportunity they have is in trades, although there are still some nice starting pitchers out on the free agent market, but it's a lot slim. They let a lot of that market go before the lockout. And, the trade market is there. There's definitely potential to do things, but that's so much more difficult to predict. And there's such a time crunch. I think I would probably say 70 to 75. Which was, a very even distribution between 80 to 85, 75 to 80, and 70 to 75. I am surprised that 80 to 85 was 29%, the highest percentage. That's a little bit more optimistic than I can get right now, but hopefully, I think there is enough that the front office could do between now and opening day that could get me on that boat. If the Twins go and take care of business, getting out of lockout, things break right for them. This upcoming season in terms of health and in terms of, signings working out. I could see that 80 to 85, but it's going to take a lot of things going right. This was another one that was depressing. Again, it's very interesting to me that some of these I'm like, oh, these are really optimistic. And then some of them are very depressing. So I felt like this one with 29% of people saying that they expect the Twins to win 80 to 85 games next season. I even think 75 to 80. If you ask me today, that's pretty optimistic at 75 to 80 today. Again, they can do a lot to get me on board that ship. But then this one was like, what? When will the Twins next win a playoff game? And I understand. Sensitive subject. Okay, it's a very sensitive subject. You got the 0-18 streak going. I get it. Okay, it's touchy. But 75.8% of Twins fans don't think that the team will win anytime soon. And to me, this was, I damn near fell out of my chair when I saw this because it's like, wait, so you think that, the Twins are okay, somewhat heading in the right direction. You think that Falvey and Levine are doing an all right job. You think that the Twins could win 80 to 85 games next year, but no shot. No shot of winning a playoff game. Not only this, okay, I could see it for this upcoming season, of course. Yeah. That's tough. That's tough. That's a tough ask. But next year and the year after that, that's rough. I would have optimistically said 2023, but I can't go farther than 24 and 24. I just can't. Can't do it. Can't do it.